Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. Good morning. Good morning. It's amazing I can do anything this early in the morning, so don't give me a hard time. I'm going to turn this down a little bit. It is, what day is it today? It is the Wednesday, September 20th, a morning session. It's 5:30 in the morning here in Eastern Standard Time, where I am in Ontario, Canada. And yeah, we're streaming today. We're on a pretty good streak. We missed one day in 3 weeks. Maybe one day in the morning, maybe one day in the evening. Otherwise, we've been streaming 2 days a week all the way through. Good experiment for me. Learned a lot. And today we're going to just jump right into some of the work that I've been doing in Blender. And as always, I'll explain what I'm doing as I go. And if you drop into the chat, please say hi, just so I know you're there. And then if you have any questions, or you want me to kind of go and explain the context, or you want to know what I'm doing or how I'm doing it, or just want to talk about streaming or what you're working on or anything, just say hi. It breaks up the stream, gives me something else to chat about, as opposed to just sitting and chatting about my work the whole time. And we'll stream for, let's see, we stream for about 3 hours usually, so 5:30 to 8:30. And then wrap things up, take a break, and then come back in the afternoon and work on some more experimental stuff in Unreal Engine. So it's a two-part kind of stream, morning being kind of the core work in Blender, and then the afternoon being the more experimental stuff in Unreal Engine. So if you see that green screen, that's because I'm running PureRef, and I love to be able to just kind of show some references and what I'm working on during the stream. So when we're going into Blender mode, you should see this thing at the bottom corner of the screen, and you can always kind of see a little reference for what I might be modeling or what I might be working on here. And then when we go to full screen, you can see this thing fully up here on the screen. So you'll see me as green, you know that I'm in this. I haven't figured out a workaround to that yet, but the cool thing is that you can kind of see this whole screen here. This is the roadmap going all the way from the source data that I collect from the real world location, in this case out in Cathedral Rock in Arizona, all the way to a 3D render, a landscape photo, to some derivative art that I'm working on now, and then down to the future stuff that we're going to get into, which is photorealistic 3D immersive landscapes in Unreal Engine, which is the fun long-term vision of what this channel is about. So thanks for joining. I appreciate it. Ask any questions you want. Otherwise, we're going to get right into some fun in Blender. Okay. So it's time to get this balloon textured and lit. Those who've watched the stream have seen my struggle with the rope part of this, and I've learned a lot, and I could say that I confidently can say that I have, if I was to do it again, I would have a pretty solid plan in terms of how I would attack the rope situation, which is kind of what this stream is about, right? I'm fairly new to 3D modeling, or 3D everything. I'm only 3 years in, max, and haven't been able to spend all of my time learning and working on it during that. And that's, a lot of time or a little time, depending on where you are kind of in your 3D journey. I definitely have come a long way, but I also still have a ton to learn. And, these streams are, it's not a finished product. Every time I stream, I learn something new about streaming and learn something new about 3D. So if you see me struggling with something, hey, Evans, good to see you again. I'm doing really well, man. Doing really well. Tired, but I'm doing well. How's life over in Kenya? Must be, what are you guys? Probably, I want to say 8 hours ahead of me. So what time is it there now? It's 5:30 for me. Is it? Was it around 3 o'clock? No, 7, 8. What time is it? Tell me what time it is. I can look it up. Probably. I'm gonna guess it's 2 o'clock. It's probably a beautiful sunny day. It's probably 20. Let me see. I'm gonna guess. It's probably 27 degrees Celsius. 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's probably beautiful over there. The sun's shining, and you're watching YouTube stream me. I love it. Evan saw me working on this yesterday. Saw the struggle. So I thought about this a little bit last night, and I definitely think that there's definitely going to be an improvement to this, and I might just do it on one of the streams. Just getting all of this properly set up. It's basically a rope mesh paired to a curve. Each of these curves sort of wraps around manually the string, and then it's an array with 8 of these around, or 7 in the inside, I think 5, and then more on the outside. And then this is the same idea, except it's snapped to a grid and mirrored to create this pattern. It's not perfect, but as I kind of showed before, it has a bit of flexibility. So if you find the original one that's not mirrored, so you just turn off these and you go over here and then you turn this back on. The cool part is you can adjust. So you can go in and actually take the mesh, turn on proportional editing, and you can adjust a little bit of the mesh like that. And what you'll get is you'll get all of that mirrored all the way around. It gets kind of crazy because if things are slightly off at any point, you're going to get things off all the way. Like, I don't know why these ones are slightly off the rest, but it's oh man, it's 12:36. How did I get that wrong? Is it really? It's 12:36 in Kenya right now. PM? Is it PM? Must be. You must mean PM, right? Like, it's the afternoon. The sun's out. Yeah, you mean PM. Okay, you threw me off there. Yeah, I was close. I was only an hour and a half off. Sun's out. It's always sunny in Kenya. Okay, so anyway, what we're saying is that this is not the perfect. It's not optimal, but it is okay. And I just want to get this up and running and in the scene so we can see it. So we're going to do a little bit of texturing today, and things are probably going to break, and then I'm going to take notes and come back and fix it. But we want to move on to some other modeling. So let me show you in PureRef what we're working on right now. So today we should get this done in a half an hour. Well, it's optimistic. These things are not. That was optimistic. Maybe not. Let's drop this in. There we go. PM. It's all good. It's all good. I just threw me off for a second. I was a little worried. Okay, so there's a couple things. Excuse me. It's so early for me. Let's just... I really should be modeling this in a separate file, to be really honest. To be really honest, because it would just make life a little bit easier. But, let me just get this organized a little bit. Okay, so we have the rope. We don't want that. We need the rope applied, which is the balloon, the ring, and the outer. And then we want the top rope, which is this one here. We'll go grab that in that. There's our balloon. I just want to see some of these curves and empties. A rope balloon circle, this is the top. So that's good. And then we got a lot of curves here and empties. I'd like to get these into a folder. Curve. So this one circle. This is the balloon curve. Rope balloon circle curve. Rope template curve. Where's our template? There we go. Old balloons. I don't know where that Revier curve is. Top. I don't think we're using this one. Anything break? Yeah. Okay, and then we'll do is we'll just get these empties into here to clean this up a bit, and then old balloons. Okay, so what we want to do is we really want to isolate this as we work, as we light this thing. And what we're going to do is we're going to go, first of all, we're going to bring one over top of an existing balloon. Okay, so to do this right, and this is where things get a little bit dicey, is we're going to bring this in, and we're going to bring all the baskets in, and we're going to just parent everything together. Okay, so this is the whole balloon is basically in here. This is hidden. This is the old balloons. This is basically the whole thing. So we should be able to highlight everything in here and hit isolate. Oh, we missed the basket. It's fine. Where'd the basket go? Oh, okay. I don't know if there's like a version of this for I think that might be it. So I think we have this here, which is good. And then what we want to do is everything is parented. We're going to parent everything to the airship balloon. Hope that nothing breaks. So all we're doing here is we're just telling Blender to keep all these objects as children of the balloon. And as long as I didn't really mess something up bad, we should have everything in here now, which means we should be able to click the balloon and move it. It's going to be a little dicey. It's going to be slow because it's calculating all these objects. And then, like, what we can do, and this is where I've said, hey, Living Senpai, sorry about that. Hey, welcome back. Good to see you. Meet Evans. Evans has been in the chat hanging out from Kenya. We've been chatting, and he's been watching. I don't know if I asked you, Senpai, where you're from in the world, but welcome, and feel free to hang out, ask any questions you got. It's good to see you. Okay, we can move this balloon, which is the key. So what we're going to do is we're going to move this guy into the position of one of these balloons so we can model it. And it gets really crazy here because we really need to apply everything and kind of, you know, set it up properly for this to work. And we're going to probably have to clean this up, but I want to get it lit anyway. So the easiest way to do that is find an old balloon. You can click on it here. And I think Balloon Night, and then Balloon Night 4. So let's click on Balloon Night here, and we're gonna change the cursor to selected, and then we're gonna go over here and we're gonna select the hierarchy, so everything in here. Well, actually no, we should be able to do this by just selecting this. Okay, so select selection to cursor, fingers crossed. Okay, I think it worked. So I think it's over here, and I think if we close this balloon, we're going to see it. Okay, so you can start to see it come through. It's showing up a little bit, and I noticed that it needs to be bigger in size. And we'll move it up a little bit. Just to give it a bit of separation. And now we're just going to start to add a little bit of texturing and stuff to it, and we're going to see how this works. Okay, so let's start with the rope, because we don't know if the rope is going to look good, and we just want the rope to have, it's barely going to be able to be seen, which is kind of the joke that I spent so much time on this. But I think I have a texture on the rope already. Let me just kind of bring this up here to your editor. And I showed this on a couple streams ago. This is a little thing I made. Yeah, the rope texture is okay. It's not maybe the best, but it's good enough for now. So this is kind of a cool thing. I'll demo this at some point here. This is using a ridiculously high texture, so we're gonna fix this. Let me go see if I have a 4K. No. Okay. So I've said this before, and texturing is not something that other than the landscape stuff that I do, is not something that I consider myself, well, not even an expert in. I would consider myself someone that you should be taking advice from. But I use a lot of textures from Quixel, and the reason I use them is because ultimately these things are coming into Unreal Engine, and Unreal Engine is really built around Quixel and Megascans. So what I'm trying to do is essentially I'm trying to make it compatible when I bring it over. So the idea being that, if I bring it over to Unreal Engine, I can just go and select this texture and apply it. And if I set up the normals right, everything's going to work. Versus, people that are doing video games or sort of selling 3D assets as models will often, do baking and, have their proper texture maps that way. The assets that I make, typically, that's not the approach. However, there will be situations like when I bring this bus over, because I have custom textures and I'm using image textures and stuff that are not, likely I'll just, I'll bake something out and then use it as the texture. I don't know if it's the right approach or not, but that's how I've thought about it from the beginning. So I'm just grabbing my rope material. Just give me a second. It's called 3-strand manila rope. And you can't see this right now. I'm just in my browser. Here, I'll switch it over. So what I'm doing right now is I download all my materials from Bridge and Megascans. And I typically do is I name them, although I don't think my renaming part is right, but I don't use any plugins because I find it doesn't work very well. What I do is I download everything I need, all the texture maps, and I usually place them in folders inside of a material folder that I use. So it's like a kind of a reference asset. And I always kind of put the preview in the core directory, and then I have a 2K, a 8K, a 4K, different versions of this file. And they're all linked together with this little unique ID you can find back on Quixel. And then what I have is I have a material node set up, and I'm going to eventually release this. I just haven't got around to it because I've been working with Quixel stuff for a long time, and I've found it to be very frustrating to work with. And sometimes, the normals are not set up properly. You can't use the plugin, it doesn't work. And then when you want to change the textures, you have to manually change every single file. If you've ever worked with Quixel Megascans, you know this pain. So I created a little plugin, and all it does is this is a node network, and it's sort of all pre-set up. It uses Blender Guru's Uber Mapper, which has some stuff for mosaicing and noise when you're using a texture over and over again for larger areas. It has all of the settings for roughness and normal and metallic, and it basically takes in the textures. If there's no textures, it sets a manual number that you could manipulate, and it outputs the texture. So all I'm doing here is actually pretty simple. I'm just changing the texture of this. I'm going to change it to a to 2K. So all I have to do is be in the texture. I hit select texture folder. I navigate to my assets, and I have an assets here called materials. I scroll down. I find my 3-strand manila rope. I go to 2K, and I just hit select texture folder. And nothing really looks like it changed, but it did. So what it went and it did is it changed the albedo to 2K, changed our AO to 2K. We don't have bump, which is, we just have to fix it with displacement. It put a displacement map in, which we're not going to end up using, so we can actually get rid of that. Or actually, a easier way would have been just to connect that to the bump, because we did that before. It has no metal, which is fine. It will keep the metal level separately. It has normal. It has roughness. It has specular. No specular. So it all kind of works by default. So one of the things that I should have just quickly done, well, I can just do it again. So if I just select this, displacement will get added. So one of the things you can do in Blender, which is cool, is when you have this setup that I already have. So basically in this network, I have a bunch of nodes. It gets really messy, but basically it's connecting all these different ones up, and it's adding some multiplication and things that you can then adjust in a principled BSDF. So you don't have to see this sort of spaghetti mesh over here. One of the things that's really cool is you can just adjust this displacement to bump, and it will take the displacement texture, which is a high quality texture that shows, you know, where the material moves, and it will just sort of, it'll fake it as bump. And you can see this, you know, now that we can zoom in, you can kind of see it when you change the strength. It'll actually go up and down. It's hard to see on the screen, but it's actually happening. You can see it there rotating, right? So you can pick kind of a nice strength. You can change the brightness of the texture. You can change the saturation of the texture. You can change, you know, the normal strength to whatever you want. You can change the roughness level, and you can change the specular. So you just have like control over the texture. But for the most part, that's all we needed to do. Now we have a rope texture, and it should be over everywhere. It may not be set up properly. Different spots. Oh yeah, it's kind of messed up over here. Interesting. Don't know what that would be. Maybe stretched. No. I wonder why that one in particular is issue, and the rest are okay. So this one is actually interestingly not working. Here's shit. Interesting. I don't know what would have changed about that particular rope over the other ones, but I think it's fine for now because I'm gonna go back in, and I gotta fix a bunch of that rope stuff anyway after the fact. But I think for now we're good. So we have rope texture. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add some metal texture to these ones, and these doesn't need to be, you know, we don't need to use a specific metal texture for this. We could just sort of make one. Well, actually, no, we'll import one because I like to show how this works. So I have this in the asset browser. I have this material. It's called the single material. I think this one. I don't know if these are different, but I just drag this in, okay? And then back to the shader. Okay, So it brought this texture in. Oh, okay. Let me go back to, I just realized that I have, it's this one. This should be the blank one. Hopefully. It's not. That's okay. It'd be straightforward. Oh, because we're already using this, so I need to do that. Okay, so rename this, right? So this is going to be metal. Okay, so this is fresh, and now I just use that same tool that I had before, and I actually already have metal textures in here. So I'm going to find one. Let's look at my reference. Flip over to Blender. I just want like some type of, yeah, this is a little maybe too dark. This is brush steel. This might work. So all I do is just select the texture set, and then just double check. Oh yeah, this is annoying. This is a Mac thing I have to figure out. So what happens is if you download the texture on Mac, on Apple, it will it'll do is it'll add a little period before, which is what makes it a hidden file on Mac. And I don't know why they do that, but for some reason it brings it when it comes over to Windows, what I'm working on now. We have that. So there's our texture. And now though we have control, right? The brightness, saturation. Don't think we have any AO. So we can do that. We don't have any bump. Displace, we don't have a displace. Which we don't have hooked up anyway. Metallic level. Should be hooked up to metallic anyway, so it won't matter. Normal strength. You can see that we can adjust the amount of normal strength from the material. And then roughness level, so we can give it a little extra roughness if we want, which I think I want to do. So just kind of make it a bit more of a thing, and I think I want to drop the brightness a little bit. Get a little bit of a darker metal. And there you go. Pretty simple, but there's our metal material. And now we can do is we can apply, it's called M metal. So we can just go metal. M metal. To our rings. Metal. There we go. So now we got some metal material. This one's going to be the tough one, honestly, because this is our balloon, and yeah. So let's switch over to Blender and see. So this is going to get into, and this is where I wish I kind of knew Substance Painter or something. We're going to have to kind of figure this one out together. I don't actually know how I'm going to tackle this yet, but let's see. And then the basket, we have another metal here. And we're just going metal. And I think a last one down here. Yeah. There we go. Okay. The basket. Let's see. Just pretty simple basket weave material. So let's see what we can do with this. Is this a separate object? Yeah. Cool. Okay, we're gonna see what we can get. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'll try over here, see what I can find for a basket material. That's basket weave. Lots of flooring. Basket weave brick. may not find anything. I also have a ton of credits, which I have to polygon assets. Let's just see. I have a bunch of polygon texture assets, so I can actually show one of these too. Let's see if I can get in here. This is another place for free assets, and these are great. I just like to use the Quixel stuff. So this is models. I mean, it's interesting because you could get into, you know, getting the actual wood texture, and then you could model out the bottom part, which I don't really want to do, to be honest. No, I definitely don't want to do, because if you look at it, you know, creating this weave texture would just be really annoying. And it's much easier to do with like a good displacement node, which is what I want to do with this one. But the question is, can I find, you know, woven basket material, wicker. So lots of bamboo model. Okay, here we go. Okay, this is kind of good. So this is probably something that we would use. Okay, there you go. Sometimes you got to know the right word to search for, and I wasn't thinking. Let me just go and see what we have here first. Wicker. Okay, so we have no, like, this is interesting, right? Like, you could use this model, you know, and probably it would look okay, but I would prefer just to texture it. So I don't see anything, and that makes sense because Quixel doesn't sometimes have these detailed models, but we do have some really good model textures here. Let's search by, can we filter? So we really want this as a texture. So yeah, so let's just find one that is similar. So sort of just looks like a simple weave, smaller vertical, more on the side. So something like this. This one's pretty good. Yeah, I like that one. Okay, I'm happy. Let's go with this. Okay, so I'm just gonna double check yet. So it's 10 credits no matter what I do, and I have a ton. So what I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna use their add-on. I actually want to see whether this is compatible. So you have all sorts of different maps. I'll just download them all. And just looking at their right workflows. Okay. So what I'll do is first of all, download them in 8K, which is a big download. And then I'll probably download them in like 2K and 4K. It's usually a good range. So I'm going to have all three. And I guess they're going to be in my downloads folder. Yeah, so we're going to move. Well, we're going to put them in downloads. It's fine. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to grab them, downloads, and I'm going to extract all. And I'll put them in my assets folder, materials, and you know, I don't know if exactly how I want to organize this yet, but what I'll do is I'll create a new folder. Believe it or not, I think about this a lot. It's basically like I really love to have like a really good organized asset setup. And so I'm gonna say that like this is wicker. I'm gonna kind of keep it the same. Wicker, weaves, porch, caramel, Fox underscore polygon. Okay. Just so I know where it comes from. And then this is going to be my directory. All right, so I'm just going to drop it in here and then I'll organize it. So we're going to extract that one into here, get all the textures. It's just really nice to have, honestly. These plugins, you know, are great, but like you just end up with a bunch of materials all over the place. You don't know where they are. And it is really nice to have them in one spot. Now I can see there's going to be probably an issue with this compared to, but we're going to get it right. Okay, so we're going to go downloads. Where's our other ones? Okay. Did I not already download that? This is really weird. Did it combine all the downloads? No, it didn't. So what happened there? I don't like that at all. It feels like it because they're all named the same. I feel like it just it's so weird. I don't understand the download. So it's downloading an asset. Downloads complete. Okay, where did it go? That's so weird. I don't know what Polygon, what their intent is with that. But it's like it downloaded this in 8K for me, and then it would refuse to download the other ones because it seemed like it didn't know, like, where is it going? It's downloading somewhere. Okay, so 164 is done. Now where is it? I can't click on it. It's not in my downloads folder. That's really annoying. Damn. Damn. Oh, over here. I'm so stupid. I didn't even see it. So oh, okay. It wouldn't let me because I was downloading multiple, I guess. Now I'm going to have a bunch of duplicates. Okay. That's what it was. Sorry about that. Yeah, that was weird. I don't know why. So I guess I was downloading a bunch at once. It just, I didn't see that at all. Okay. That's fine. Okay. So now they should rename these when they download them. This is kind of annoying. Yeah, this is kind of weird. But we're going to just do it. Oh, okay, so it brought these in. Okay, so these are the 2K. So what I just do is I put them in the individual folders. So this is like my 2K folder. I lost my window because I don't understand why Explorer can't keep these things. Materials. And it seems like a lot of work what I'm doing, but I can say that it really one texture set per folder is really a good way to go, because it just gives you, you know that everything is in these folders, and then for that little plugin that I built, it really helps quickly organize. Now I just have to find where our 4K went. I guess that's a duplicate. Man, it's very annoying. Okay, there's our 4K. If I did that again, I would know at least how their stuff works. Okay, but this is the basic idea. And I noticed in one of these ones, what just happened? Am I losing my mind? Did I just not do that? Oh, God. This is why I shouldn't do this stuff this early. I don't know what I just did. Okay. Man, that really is stupid. All right. I put it in the wrong material. They should be in here. New. AK. Oh, okay. And then I'll just take out that there was a preview in here somewhere. Here. So this is the preview. And then drop this in the main folder. Okay. So sorry about that. This is how this is a good way to have it. So you open up the Wicker Weaves folder, you know it's from Polygon, you can see the preview, and then you pick your texture set, and they should be all the same. They should be just 2K, 8K, etc. Okay. So this is probably not going to work as well as the other ones, but we're going to try it. So we're going to do, for this texture again, we're going to go into our asset browser. We're going to grab my single material here, back to the shader editor. We should have went back to the metal, actually to the rope, and we should have adjusted this. Well, and we should have renamed it properly in each one, but we'll do that after. Okay, so right now we have basically this, and we're going to call this material underscore wicker, and then we're going to just do the same thing, but we're going to go find the Wicker Weaves, and we're going to do probably 4K. We're just going to see what it does. Okay, so it didn't get the albedo. Oh, it did. Okay, it didn't get the albedo. It got the AO. Got some bump. Didn't get displacement. No. Okay, so we're just going to go through these one at a one, and just see why the reason would be. This is a little bit of troubleshooting for the future. So we just go into material, Wicker Weaves, 4K. And we see that they call it what do they NRM? Okay, so they call it just call it COL for color, which is annoying. So I just have to go to that script and just tell it to look for anything with COL as the color, and they have 3 versions of it. So again, I don't get the point of that. That's just a hue and saturation. So really, we would just want to pick one, and it's going to come in. It's going to take a second. Okay, so just give it a second here. For bump, we have the bump texture came in. Displacement we don't need. It's going to be the normal that I want to see, so I don't know why that didn't work. Also don't know why this always likes to go back. Material, Wicker Weaves. Okay, so their normal texture is NRM, so hopefully that works. Out of the box, we don't have to change anything. Roughness. This is the pain of Windows. I swear it just decides randomly to pick this. I've never used this ever in my life. Like I've never used this column mode, and it'll constantly just switch to it. I don't understand. Okay, so we have AO, we have bump, we have our color, displacement, gloss. So it has a gloss. which I think should be an opposite of roughness. If I can remember how they do it. I think so. So I might just have to reverse that. Okay, let's figure out why the texture's not showing through first of all. So I want to just quickly look at what we did here on the model. Do we have some type of weird... Oh man, that's not what I wanted to do. Oh, it's a struggle this morning. This is like a super, I don't know if other people struggle with this, but when you're in single user mode, or it's like you're isolating an object and then you have multiple objects, you kind of want to like isolate down now to the single one you have, and you forget that you're in that, and you hit the isolate button and it basically reverses and goes to full everything. And especially when you're in material preview, it takes a long time to come back. Okay, so we're gonna just do a couple things. We're going to take a peek at the UV. We're going to go back to the shader. We're going to grab a new thing. We're going to look at the UVs. And we're going to see what we have for any kind of UV setup, which we may not have because of the way we built this. We also got to find out what's going on. Whoa. What did we do? Let's just kill this subdivision for a second. Okay, so this part looks fine. I don't really see any issue right now with this mesh. There's no thickness. That's fine. We can fix that together. Odd. Okay, so we can. I'll show a couple things. So right now this is using UVs, and there are no UVs on this, which I don't know. It's just probably because the way that I modeled it. But let's see. So if we unwrap it like this, this is kind of the texture setup we get. But we can also, you know, play with. Take a second. It's generated object scale. Well, maybe it's time in my life that I actually get down to business and get a little bit more into UV unwrapping, which is something I have certainly not done a lot of. Okay, so right now we have essentially the UV unwrapped across here, and I really just need to mark, I think you just need to mark a seam. And I mean, you can have the part not facing the camera. So I'm just going to try this. I honestly haven't done a lot of this before. I don't even know the keyboard shortcuts, to be honest. Now, I know that there's a way. To straighten these out. Yeah. Hey, CryoG. So I haven't done a lot of texture unwrapping in Blender. So if you know this stuff, feel free to like jump in here and help me out. See menu UV grid according to shape. So what are you talking? Is that where you can see the actual UV? on the screen. Where is that? See menu UV grid. UV grid according to shape. Let's see. I'll grab. Let me in Blender here. So let me just see. Get some. Oh, get some. Grab some resources here. Yeah, I mean, I know what you mean, and I'm thinking where it is. Yeah, I know you can do like new image, and then you can do, there's like a UV test grid, I thought. Yeah, UV grid, UV test grid. But I think then we would have to change, right? Yeah. So, but what I'm trying to do, and I'm thinking about this here pretty simply, right? I mean, really, I don't know why the generated honestly didn't work, because really, I will actually really just want like probably want like a box project. The scale. Yeah, originally what I was thinking is just why can't I just get like a box project on this, so that we've got, you know, basically the texture is just projected on a box, because we don't really care about the texture inside right now. There's no real seams and shapes. It's just basically want that texture to be flat. And I honestly just not sure why that didn't work. So yeah, this is what I was thinking. It's just weird. I'm just gonna see what this looks like. I'm just kind of curious. Yeah, this is what I didn't quite understand. I mean, yeah, there's a seam. Like there's a seam there. There's a seam a few spots, so that's maybe the issue. Yeah, we'd have those seams. But I don't quite understand why it wasn't working by doing this and then picking blocks and then putting like a slight blend. I didn't really understand that. What I'm messing up there. If it's the Uber map. Global rotation. Yeah. Yeah, we'll stretch. Well, I mean, I've done this many times where I've gone down this rabbit hole. And, you know, we probably just need to do it. You know what I'm talking about? There's a way, basically, you see how these textures are sort of wrapping themselves around the whole, you know, the whole model. So now we just have that one seam, right, that we're dealing with. But there's a way to take the there's a way to take the location of one and straighten the whole thing out. And I'm curious what that is. Let me see if I can find it.
Hi everyone, here from Tunnel Vision TV, and in this tutorial
I've seen this so many times. This guy's doing it with a curve, which is interesting. Go into vertex select mode. Pressing 1. Okay. Okay, just give me a second here. Sorry, I should be showing this, but okay. Okay, I'm going to try this. So this is just interesting. So I don't know if it's going to work. So basically the idea is like you pick a face that's, and let's get rid of this UV thing. And we'll just go back to our, we're going to go back to our original image, which is our wicker weave color. Okay. So this is an idea. I've seen this happen many times and I don't know if it's going to work, but I'm just kind of curious. So basically, see how you have one of these faces that's pretty much a square? It's pretty close. But you can straighten this out by selecting the vertices or the edge. And you can go scale Y0. No. Scale X0. No. Okay, why? We don't want to affect the rest. Oh, proportional. The scale Y0. There we go. So all I did was I made the top straight. So I'm just scaling Y by 0. So now it's a square. And on this side, scale X0. Scale X0. So what I just did is I turned this particular face into a perfect square. And if you look, this one looks, it's perfectly even. Don't know if this is going to work across the board, to be honest. I'm curious. And then there's a thing, it's basically called a follow active quad, and I don't know where it is. It should be somewhere, it might be a search situation. Follow active quads. And we're gonna I think we don't have to select anything. And I don't know actually which one of these to use. Let me see what this guy was saying. He didn't give any, there is no setting, so let's go length average. It did not work at all. Maybe it was... Oh, right. Because we have to select all and make sure we're selecting all. Okay, that's still active. Okay, so what did we get? Yeah, we got it, but then we did, you're right, the stretching. UV squares. Yeah, I don't really care about that. I'm not I'm not trying to win any awards for purity in my UV squares. I want to check that out. But yeah, so what we did, which was not what we want, but it's just at least a kind of an interesting experiment, is now we got everything here, but we still have our stretching. Right? And we could, if we looked at the model, we could have, this is a separate piece. Yeah, but the stretching is really the issue. But at least there's an experiment that was cool to be able to see how that worked. Interesting. What was it called? It was called UV squares. $15. Okay, I want to see what it does. Yeah, the interesting part is really, we really would want, I'm just going to kind of test this. So I really almost would want these to be separate. This to be separate. And then these to be separate. I'm just gonna experiment. Just a little bit. I'm kind of curious. Right. So if you kind of imagine the top part of this, and you know, we get this this is where I wonder, if I can see a rotation of this. I'm just going to kind of mess around. So, you know, the top part of the basket makes sense to be something like that. And then the bottom part of the basket, same thing, right? You'll say two of these things. Right, so the bottom part of the basket, and then the top part of the basket, this is where it gets interesting, right, is we got these ones, which I don't really know what to do with these guys. So we have this internal one, right, which we know that if we, you know, if this is the one we know, you know, is fine, but the weave of it you know, it needs to, you know what I'm saying? It needs to stretch out, like it needs to be not, I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's too much of a curve, but it also, if it's flat, we saw with this tool, which will make a favorite, the follow active quad tool doesn't work. I'm curious if any of these other settings, no. Yeah, we're getting stretching no matter what we do. We marked seams on this, didn't we? Or did I remove it? Yeah, we have a seam here. I'm just trying to picture this, right? So you have, what do you mean? Yeah, uncurved. Yeah, that's the word. I'm like picturing this world one day. I'm excited. I know it's gonna happen. I just have to think through how to do it, just to make this like appreciate. Yeah, I think I did, Cryogy. But hey, Cryogy, while I'm doing this, let me ask you a question, because you're coming from Twitch, and I don't know if how much you're on Twitch or if you're a streamer, but I started doing this multi-stream thing, and there's a couple things I'm really wondering, like, does it have any impact on the experience for Twitch people? Like, I know the chat is doing some weird stuff. Like, you're probably seeing like chat come in from YouTube. Like, as a Twitch person, does this a problem? The fact that I'm not streaming natively on Twitch? I'm curious, because I don't know if I'm still evaluating whether this is a good idea or not. I like Twitch. It doesn't seem like it's the right platform for what I'm doing, but I kind of dig it. I did, but I didn't try I don't think I tried the smart UV project. Sorry, I didn't try the smart UV project in just these ones. Okay, so interesting. So when you do, like, if I type a YouTube chat, just curious what happens. You see that on my stream, right? Do you see that in the chat? Or did that just go to you? That probably just went to YouTube, right? I haven't tried it just on these ones, so that's a good idea. So interesting. So we got, we've got a few of these, and like we could obviously, we could do each one and we could line it up. I don't know if I like that though. I'd like to think through the unwrapping part of this. You have this basket. How would you do this in other situations, right? Like how do you UV a cone? How do you UV a cone? That's really what this is, right? It's bigger at the top, smaller at the bottom. How to UV unwrap a cone? Oh, so the Restream bot says it's from YouTube. So you see it. It probably looks a little weird, but it shows up on Twitch. That's interesting. It's cool that you didn't notice. So I won't do Inception, but oh, interesting. So it didn't get my message, but what it took is Senpai's message and earlier messages. It brought them in. And it says YouTube. It would be nice if I didn't have that. Like, Restream brought YouTube, Living Senpai, hi. That's a little annoying. But that's cool. It's cool that it's cool that it works. I also have alerts on, which I don't know if they're working, to be honest. I don't know if they're actually working. I haven't got anything from. Well, is there anything you can do on Twitch to trigger? I guess I could just trigger an alert on. These are Streamlab, but I haven't seen an alert come in from Twitch in a while, like a follow or anything like that. But I have this alert box. Let's see if I can find it. I think it's this one. There it is. Oh, it's there you go. It comes up. I gotta work on a bunch of stuff. I'm super pumped about it actually, but it's like I want to have like what I want it to do, and I don't know if this is possible. I want when like an alert comes in, instead of it just dropping it over top, which I could do, I would want it to like, I want to basically like hide the background image there and then play that alert right on that screen. Like I've been thinking about this a bit because I'm kind of in a weird I'm in a weird OBS studio and streaming mode, and my brain works like this, and I start thinking of cool things I can do because I've really wanted this box here to kind of become like, I always want the chat to sort of be over here and kind of keep it active, and then this to be like almost like a I don't know, like just like imagine a bunch of different options here. So like when I've been using ChatGPT, I bring the chat window here. I've brought YouTube videos in here. I want, the alerts to come here, my pure ref, and just to kind of have it dynamically switch. So if like an alert comes in, it would fade out whatever's here and hit the alert and then fade it back in. And I know there's ways to do this stuff. I'm sure everyone has figured out all sorts of cool stuff, but I really want to kind of use this window in that way. And then I also want to set up some stuff where it's like if I switched from Blender to Unreal Engine, it just auto switches my background and stuff like that. So yeah. But anyway, I'm back to this thing. I'm just thinking about, how to UV unwrap a basket. Here we go. 26-minute video on how to unwrap and texture all the baskets. Oh God, it scares me that this guy's got like a 26-minute video on a basket. I was just going to see. I feel like what this guy did. So yeah, like, it's interesting, very interesting with this little tutorial I just had. I should have brought it up on the screen. Actually, let me test this, see if this works. I had this going before, right? So it's just something I was experimenting with to see. Can't remember. I think it's got to be full screen for this to work right. Yeah, it's not the best, but it's just the way that I think I have. So I get distracted. Screen. I don't know, something like this. I haven't quite figured it out yet. I don't want it to be doing overlays and stuff, but maybe I just need, maybe I could just go full screen. Drop it down to something like this. I'm trying to get it to not snap to the bottom. Settings. Snap. Yeah, just like something like this, and then have it go here instead of this pure ref. Yeah, theater mode on YouTube. Good call. So there you go, right? And it's like my browser, and it's just like figuring out how to kind of do stuff where it looks good on a stream, but also it's practical for me. Because sometimes I might go full screen on this, and sometimes I might put an overlay. I could probably, be interesting if I went to like picture-in-picture mode, which you're not going to see it now. But I wonder if there's anything in OBS to grab the picture-in-picture, so you can actually see this. But yeah, so I want to figure this out. I'm gonna figure it out. I don't know the right way. I gotta find some streamers that do this and kind of find, like, not gaming, they're doing game development or Blender. I need to go on a little journey and see who's doing it right, and then copy the best of everyone. But yeah, something like this would be kind of cool because we can kind of work on stuff, and it's not obviously big, but I can change. I could easily switch over and create a new. Like I could create a new. I'll just turn on studio mode. Distracting myself from UV unwrapping. So on this one, it's currently streaming. Window capture, right? Chrome full. And then we're grabbing Chrome and cool. So just give me a second here to think through this. It's the joys of having an ultra wide monitor, right? Yeah, I don't know what I just did, to be honest. Yeah, I gotta be careful. I'm gonna mess up my Blender stream. Okay, I'm gonna go out of this. I'm gonna do this offline. Anyway, the point is, I was just trying to say I can, have the Chrome window up here and go full screen, and then it'd be nice to have that, have that control, and I can just say, hey, we'll watch this video. This is a 24-minute video on making a basket. And he's doing it with material nodes, which is cool because what he's doing here is he's getting the real basket weave, right? And then once you have the real basket weave, you're really just texturing these little, these little ropes, which is, it's a super cool thing. I would love to probably watch this tutorial and see. I also like the circle. I also like that circle. I should put a circle on mine. Circle mask. Should I do a circle mask? I like the circle mask a lot. Yeah, so anyway, he does the whole thing and then he textures it, which is super cool. I would love to watch that. But what I'm just trying to understand is how I can do, how I could unwrap this thing. It seems so simple in my mind, but if you have so you have this cup like this and it's got curve, and you're gonna open it up to unwrap it. If you cut it down the side, you can't have a seam in the middle. The only place you can have a seam is there. I don't know if cutting like 2 seams would make a difference. I mean, it's just doing exactly this. It's just the stretching of the top to the bottom. Actually, maybe I'm stupid. Maybe I'm stupid. Maybe that did it. Maybe that actually did it. No, it messed up the... No, it didn't. So it got okay, hold on a second. Let's try this again. Unwrap. Let's get one of these. Let's get this into here. Let's get one of these guys. And let's scale it. Let's turn this into a perfect square. Cylinder projection unwrap, and then you can adjust the width proportional editing. That's interesting. Yeah. Okay. Let me just try it. Let me just quickly just see what happens when I do this, and then I'll do that one next. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. So we'll sort of adjust for the width. So anyway, this was the idea here, and then we select this one, right? And then we can select all, and then we do this follow active quads. So wait a second, what happened there? Well, that looks good. What did I just do there, Crouch? I mean, okay, I did the length average. So what it did there is it didn't affect the height of the two at the top and the bottom, which I'd already separately done. So I separately did a couple at the top and the bottom, and it kept those the same, oddly, in the rep. But I mean, like, what, you know what I mean? Like, what it seems like, it seems so obvious now, but what's wrong with that? You know, other than like wanting to maybe do the top and the bottom separate. You know, but we could just separate these out, right? That's good, right? That worked. What did I do though? Yeah, but I evened out. So I unwrapped it, and then I evened out the middle. I evened out. So what I did was I unwrapped it, but then I separated out the two at the top and the bottom, and I adjusted those. And then I went to the middle section, and I got one that was perfectly aligned, like vertically and horizontally. And then I did the follow active quads to everything, I think by accident, and it just put everything flat. But I think it maintained something from the original. I'm gonna save this UV, and then I might go back and try that again, because now, you know, at least we have, if we look at it this way, you know, we can do like the kind of the double, right? Or even a triple at the top, which I think would look good, because we'll probably extrude this out and add a bit of depth. So kind of if you go something like that, right, for the top, and then this looks good. So you'll see when this comes out, I think this would work. Maybe that's too many, I'm not sure. Let me go back and look at my ref. Yeah, I mean, these look totally different. I'm so curious how Ryan did that. I think we go 2. Right? So see, so, you know, we kind of hit it so it comes over just a little bit, and then, you know, we select these ones. So we can do, you can do select, linked. And actually then we want to grab these guys at the bottom. So let's go look at the bottom of this thing. And we can do the same thing. We can separate these out, right? We can scale them up a bit. And just do this double. Just have to kind of get it. There's not really an overlap. This looks pretty good. Okay. Cool. And then, you know, we can probably even on here. I think this is, I think I'm really happy. I'm good with this. Yeah, I'm good with this. So for sure. So let me just go grab the UV map, and I'm just going to take a duplicate of it. And I'm just gonna I just want to replicate what I did, just so I can mentally kind of wrap my head around that. Okay, so if we selected the whole thing and we UV unwrapped it, we got this, right? So I think that I did the separation, but let's just see what happened. Maybe I just missed something. So if you kind of line this up here and you go grab this texture, or this thing, and you just line up the sides, which they're pretty close already, right? But you're just sort of making sure that they're even, making sure this is even. And all I'm doing is I'm scaling it on the X and the Y and setting them to 0. So now that's a perfect square. And now you select everything and you do follow active quads. Yeah, that's it. So I did that. You saw me do that at the beginning. Right? That was my first intuition. And whatever I'd done, I don't know what I did, but it didn't do that. But that basically does, you know, and it makes sense. I mean, we're just basically, I mean, it seems like it should be a box project, but it kept the box project. It did essentially a box project, but it kept the proper scale on the Y axis of all these, which is exactly what you want when you think about it, right? And that's kind of the same idea that Cryoji was saying with the proportional editing. He was saying, like, you know, do a cylinder or do a, cylinder projection, and then proportionally edit it, which made sense. What this does is it maintains a perfectly equal distance between each face, so that when it wraps, it doesn't distort it, stretch it in this direction. And then it understands that, these are obviously different sizes going down, and it got it right. Yeah, so there we go. So that UV is basically the same as this one, except that on this one, I added, a bit more detail on the top and the bottom. So I made the rim go that way. So we're going to keep this one. We'll get rid of that one. We know at least what we did now. So we learned a little something today on the stream. And then the other thing about the top part is, we could add, if we wanted, we could also, we could add like a little bit of a loop here. Right, so now we have a little extra. I don't know how much issues this is going to cause in terms of the texturing, but it would be interesting to do that. And then we can do the same at the bottom. And I'm just extruding these along the normals and just sort of getting like a little bit of an extra. Oh, we might have caused some issues down here. Did. So interestingly, extruding that really caused. I'm not sure why it would have, but. It was just when it got too close. No, it does really not like that. Don't know why though. Don't know what would have distorted. Did I imagine that? Why are these now showing up as... My brain is breaking right now. It's almost like it switched over to a different texture. I don't really know what that is. Okay, well, let's leave it for now and let's just texture this and then we can always come back. So now let's just see what we can do with our texturing, because I want to use some displacement here to kind of show this. So let's go to the render previewed mode, or to the actual render. Oh, because we have this set as UV test grid. So that's not what we want. So we're going to go back to assets, materials. We're going to go to our wicker and go to, we use 4K, I think. And we're going to use this color, variation 1. Okay. Now we need some lighting here just to kind of make this work. Okay. Interesting. We're gonna see. We're gonna see what we can do with this now. Okay, so we knew a couple things. Albedo is fine, probably. Let's just see the AO mix. I think we have an AO in here. This should be linear, or this should be non-color. The roughness is wrong, because we said this was glossy. So it should be opposite. I'm just gonna see if I can invert this, if that's gonna work or not. It might have. I don't know if there's something going on with the texture or not. I can't decide. See the distortion going on over here? Can't quite figure that out. But I think that worked. Didn't. I'd like to use that roughness map. It's kind of cool. This is kind of, unfortunately, where I have to go into the node itself, because if you look at what I did with roughness, it's got this multiply, and then it comes into the roughness node. That's all it is. Don't know why the invert wouldn't work. Could be the normals, by the way. I think that's probably fine. I was hoping to get a little bit of gloss come through. There it is. So you can see they kind of did. Interesting. So you get like a little bit of a shine. It's kind of cool. I like that. Okay, so let's keep that as is. I think that the normal, there's some issues maybe with the normals. Let's see. It's actually not too bad. Still something weird with the texture there. Okay, so let's see what we get with some displacement, because we do have a displacement map, or at least we did. I don't know why it didn't come in. Assets, materials, wicker porch, 4K. So we have displacement, and we have a 4K one, and we have a JPEG. Let's just go with this one for a second and see. So we don't want to use the bump. We're going to use the real displacement, and we're going to hook up this. And we're going to have to play with probably a subdivision surface, but let's just for fun. There we go, right? So 0.1. Trying to see understand what it's doing. Not so sure we want to do it. I think the normals are good. So without normals, right, we got a pretty flat texture. And then if we bring the normals in to 100, we actually get some nice lighting. Bump is adding a little bit. AO is definitely helping. Not sure about the bump. Actually sure about this displacement map. I'm kind of curious. I see what it's trying to do. It's trying to bring out, it's trying to bring out these parts, right? So the white part is coming out, and then it's going in here, and then it's going under. It makes total sense what it's doing. I just don't know why. Oh yeah, that's my fault. That's actually a little thing that I wanted to fix. So right now we're in Blender. Actually, I noticed that this is hidden. So yeah, so I'm in the Blender mode here, and then if I go to full screen, it's going to be whatever I have on my screen. So if I go into the file thing, now you should see it, right? I have to remember that. There's also like, it's just me learning how to do this stuff, because the reason why, I mean, it doesn't really matter. I can just do the screen. I just, I found that it was nice to be able to, like, if I switched over to pure ref. So for example, if I'm in this is full screen mode, right? And if I switch to pure ref, you see what I'm seeing. And then I move this around, you see my green screen. You see this. But if I stay in the Blender mode, I can be in here, and I can adjust this without you having to see the full, crazy green screen. So that's why I want it. But what I want to do in the Blender mode is just tell it to grab the file browser, which I'm sure is an easy option. I just have to figure it out in OBS Studio. We're going to get there. But there you go. That's the full Blender mode. This is just nice. So I have to stress, like, if I move the screen around, it just all stays where it is. It works pretty good. I am curious, this displacement thing is kind of interesting to me. I still don't understand the texture stuff going on here, to be honest. I'm wondering if I might have broke something. Because that albedo is not right. So remember when I was doing the box project? No, you didn't offend me at all. I actually desperately I love to hear that stuff, because I'm not huge streaming. I don't watch a lot of streams. But I am Canadian. You got that. Oh, you don't mean to offend me by asking if I'm Canadian. I made a joke that I was offended when someone asked that. No, I'm not offended at all. Cryogy, yes, I'm Canadian. 100% Canadian. Can you tell by my accent? Where are you from? Evan knows I'm Canadian. Some Canadian guys. Can you tell? Eh? Okay, did everyone see what happened there? Did everyone see how stupid I am? Did you guys all watch how I changed this texture to box like, an hour ago? Cryogy Netherlands. Did we talk about this already? Were you on the stream from YouTube? There was someone else that was here from the Netherlands. Is that you, Cryogy, making the racist jokes? There was someone from YouTube. It was the out. Yeah, it was the out. Yeah, that's true. We had a guy from YouTube from Netherlands. I think I banned him because I didn't want to. He was hanging out. He seemed cool, but he wanted to make racist jokes, and I told him no. And then he started to do it, and then I was like, well, you got to go. But I don't actually know how to unban people. I was like, when you're like building an audience, you want to ban people. This is, you got to accept everyone, but you just can't tell jokes like that on the chat. I'm trying to keep a legit channel here. Anyway, if you saw what I did, I changed this to box project because we were experimenting, and I forgot to change it back. So the albedo that we had, this nice texture map, was actually a disaster. It wasn't actually working. So now I can probably show this properly. Assets, material. Really interesting. This should look a lot better. So we're going to grab the AO. And then the way this should work is my mix should be fine. So if I bring it up, make sure that it's actually hooked up properly. Okay, here we go. Okay, bear with me here. Just bear with me. Okay, so now look. So this is the AO mix. So off and on, it just brings like a little bit of darkness underneath, and that's a map. So there, when you get an AO map, it looks like this. Oh, that's for a different one. AO wicker weave. Wicker weave AO. So you get AO on map, it looks like this. And all it is it's adding a little dark, just like a little bit of darkness underneath where there's shadows. The guy was 11. Can you guys see each other's chat and YouTube? Just so I'm wondering, like, can you guys actually see each other's chat on YouTube and Twitch other than on my screen? It's cool that you can do that. I'm bringing people together. I'm bringing the Twitch and YouTube community together. That's what I'm doing here. I love it. So how much better does that look than that other texture that I had? Oh my God, that's so funny sometimes. It's so hilarious. Okay, so now we can actually do this properly. So let's see what we can get. So this is normal strength. We have our normal, I think, hooked up properly. Yep. No. Color ramp. So let's just see if this now looks better. I do think we had to, no, that's the roughness. So I think that the roughness part is fine because that's what's changing. See the glossiness? It's just sort of affecting a little bit of it. Having like bringing in a little bit of a glare at parts of the wood, which is true because that's kind of how wicker looks. Let's bring our normal map in and see if that worked okay. So I think it did. If I bring the normal up, see all that does is adds, right? So off, it just adds a bit more of the lighting picking up properly on the texture. So that looks, it's getting pretty good, right? Okay. So then let's try displacement and just see how it looks. So bring our displacement in. And this is with it off. And now let's see if we bring it up. See what it's doing? It's actually bringing the material out, but it is, this comes down to how much vertices you have, because it is literally displacing that material, right? It's like, it's actually adding to the mesh, and you really need a lot. You usually need a lot of vertices to do this right. And see if we go down to nothing, see it kind of just randomly does it. Then we get here, it gets a little bit more detailed, but in this case, it really it's really kind of distorting everything, and then we really don't want the normals when we do it. So you can see if we bring it out, right? And I don't think we need it, to be really honest. I think we're going to get rid of it, and I think we'll just simulate it. I think it's going to look good enough. You know, from far away. Oh, we lost some texture stuff down here. What happened? What did we do? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what we did. Here, let me just try something. Maybe I had the wrong. You don't want both. Okay, so it's interesting, right? So you get kind of like something that starts to feel like it's got more depth, but I think it's not. I don't think it's adding much to this. So I'm going to put the normals back up. I think that's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Cool. The restream thing, yeah, it's good. I was looking at Streamlab to try to do this, and I don't know if it's better or not, but I like the restream. I'd like to change it so it doesn't say restream, and maybe it's got like a little, like a bot or something we make. Yeah, it's super cool. I might try Streamlab multi-stream this afternoon and see how it works. I want to test a feature, because what I want to do with this stream, we're going to start doing, I just want to get like comfortable and understand how this works and audio and video. And if you go watch my first stream, it's hilarious. You can't hear anything. It's super bad. And the lighting is the next thing I have to fix. It's on my list. But other than that, I think, I've got a feeling pretty good on the setup. What I want to do is I want to start bringing other artists in. So what we're going to do is like, I'll be working, but then I'll pull in, another artist and I'll put their stream up, and we'll have, side by side of them working on something else that they're doing. Might be painting, digital painting, It might be photography, video, it could be just anything in the art world. And I want to bring in other artists to kind of stream alongside me. And then I also want to bring in people to chat. So if people are comfortable with webcam or they have their video, like I think it's fun. Like it's cool to have you guys just chatting, but if people are willing and want to join on video or even audio and just drop in, I'm going to use the Discord server I have to do the audio chat and even, figure out the video. I just want to be able to see people's face and kind of have like a guest pop in and chat with me on something while we're streaming. Because, obviously if you're trying to learn Blender, there's probably better people to learn from than me. And if you want entertainment, there's probably much better entertainment out there. So I'm going to figure out how to combine, hey, you can watch me working on something, can come hang out, but it's a much more social, interactive setup without me compromising what I need to do, which is, obviously work and get this stuff done. So the basket is okay. It could use some thickness and stuff, but I think for now I don't want to mess with it. So now, what do we want to do? We want to bring in some texturing on the balloon, and then we want to light this thing. Let's take our light for now, and we're just going to put it inside of here. So we'll just put it inside. You can see it's kind of lighting up a little bit up here, starting to see something. But I just want to put the light in here, and you can see a little bit of light coming through. Okay. Let's us do, we need to bring back our balloon. Oh boy. What the heck oh, it's this one. Okay, I think I got it. So this needs to disappear. That really got me thrown off for a second. So we want to, we don't have a base to the balloon, to the bottom of this thing, which should be pretty fixable, although the texture might be a disaster. We can do, what kind of fill options do we have? We could do, or we can just fill it like this for now. We have a face at the bottom. Okay. We have the rope done. We have this done. We have this done. We have our balloon left. Okay, so let's talk about this balloon. So we're gonna isolate this thing out. Okay, so first of all, it's not very smooth. So I have to sort of, manually do. So I have subdivision on this, and I'm kind of curious. Again, I sort of don't have the best knowledge of this. I also have a remesh tool, and I am very curious about remeshing this balloon and seeing what that impact is. Let's get the scale down, first of all. Okay. And we're currently at, let's go to 3 subdivisions. And I'm just trying to understand, like the shape looks fine here, but it does, you can see a bit of the, if you don't get this perfect, you can see a bit of the shading issues come through. Okay, so what we have to do with this balloon, although you can see that there, just curious. This is my own curiosity. I have this quad remesher, which is really cool, and I'm just kind of curious. This object has 8,000 faces right now, so let's just see what it does. What, 8,000? Is it because of that? Oh, because of this thing. So let's just let's get rid of the subdivision for a second. And let's just see, this thing only has 1,000. Let's just see what quad remesher does at like 1,000 faces. Just kind of curious. Okay, so that's what it did. So it changed the topology at the top. And let's do another one. Let's do like at 5,000. It's interesting. It still does this interesting approach to the top. I don't really know why. What I've learned usually to do with the top is there's a couple ways to do it, but usually you just can cut out the top and then you can reface it if you don't want it to be. So this is my original. It's interesting. Let's just go without it for a second and then we're going to see. Oh, yeah, what's the vertex smooth, Crowdgy? I've used that for curves, but I've never used it here. Is it just a... Is it the Laplacian or the regular? Does it matter? Oh, interesting. Look at that. So he just basically, yes. Can you like, is it like, can you redo it? Like, can you just keep doing the, I like that. Curious about. So that was the original. Is this one better? This one doesn't look like it's better, right? Doesn't seem like it's even doing anything. I like that other one, though. I like that smooth vertices. Was it the vertex? Yeah, it was this one, right? I like that a lot. Can you keep doing it? Dude, I love that. I love that. Looks like a light bulb, eh? Do you think the shape is close enough? I think the shape's close enough to the main one, right? Man, I love that. You have any experience dealing with the top of these things? I know there's ways to do it. I've done it before. One of the ways is to sort of, you can select all these and then you can, like, I think you can grid fill it. Delete faces. So what's that? So is a grid fill? That's probably not what we want. Because now it's flat, right? Watch the bottom edge loop. What do you mean? What's the top of a hot air balloon look like? It's not... Is it just... is it flattened out at the top? You never see that. This is actually this is a really good. I just like that reference right there. I'm just going to drop that in because it really, to me, it shows the. It really shows the pinching in of the balloon. I really like how it shows the texture, which I want to replicate, and I haven't quite figured out how I'm going to do it yet. Yeah. What's the top of a hot air balloon look like? Top of hot air balloon. Yeah, see, I knew it was slightly different. I knew it was slightly different. So that's interesting. So we can kind of replicate some of that. That's crazy. I don't know if that's that specific design, but they all have the same deal. They have this like separate pattern. This is actually like, looks like a 3D model. And it does look like it flattens out, doesn't it? It looks like it flattens out on all of them. So we actually might be in luck. Maybe we don't overthink that. Maybe we just fill that at the top and keep that flat. I think that probably is okay. Yeah, that'll just make our life a little bit easier. Okay, yeah, we'll keep an eye on the bottom. I'm happy with this. So now what I wanted to figure out is, I wonder if is there like an ever other, is there a way selecting every other edge in Blender? So I should switch this over. I was just something I was thinking about the other day. I do this so often that I just thought there must be a way. I'm sure there's a way to do like a, to automatic. I think you can do like Control R or something and repeat this, but I'll show you what I want to do. This takes 2 seconds. I just thought there'd be, yeah. So now we're trying to create that ridges of the balloon, and obviously if we scale this in, you can see we get a little bit of that edge. But now we got to see what this looks like with the subdivision. And what I really want is, I want enough. I think what I want is enough geometry to do this, and then proportional, turn on proportional editing. Maybe. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I want this to be smooth, and then it to have like a hard crease. And I'm trying to think of how, I'm trying to think of how I would do it if I just need more geometry on this, or if I can do it with the subdivision. I'm just going to do a quick edges balloon. I mean, we can get the ridge. It's just I want it sharper. Can you do anything with seams here? Maybe. Will that do anything? No, maybe for UVs, but I don't know. This is not terrible for what I want. Go back to my Blender so I can see my reference. This one doesn't actually have a lot of shape, to be honest, so maybe I should be a little less aggressive. Just stick a little bit of a groove in. Oh yeah, mark crease, and then in the subsurf, use crease. Is there a quick mark crease thing in one of these? Not bevel, right? Oh yeah, mean crease. Will mean crease do it? Will that do it? And then the subdivision. Use creases, right? That's all it was? Okay, so what's actually happening there? Dude, that looks awesome. So what actually was happening there? It was, so it's just it's sort of treating that edge, bro. Can you just stay on these? Can you just stay here and just give me tips like this, dude? That's perfect. I mean, it's not. I don't. It's too much probably for what I wanted, but it's nice to know that you can get. That's probably good. Something like that. Nice, man. And then I don't think that. Yeah, it didn't do. I mean, it did a little bit of. Up here, it caused a little issue just because of. I like it. I can adjust it after, but yeah, dude. Nice. And it did, and also was by default, it's using the creases. So all you got to do is mark the crease. And that was it. So seams for unwrapping, creases for subdivision. Is that how it works? And then edges for, where was that? Where I had, so yeah, the bevel, so crease, bevel, and seams. And seams are just like, they're just, you mark them. Versus a crease, like technically we could adjust the amount of that, right? So that's it off. And that's it full. So we could also adjust the amount, which is super neat. Because if we wanted to even weight that and you know, we wanted to fade it from the top to the bottom, I'm sure we could do that. We could even like weight paint it, right? And then use, yeah, Mark Sharp. Yeah. Yeah, Mark Sharp, which would do, which, yeah. It is gets like hard surface modeling gets really fun, right? Where you're getting into, you know, your edges and making sure everything, you know, yeah. I haven't done a lot of that, but it's super fun to, you just like, I don't know, Cryogy, where you are in your 3D journey, but you know, there's so many different things to learn, but it feels like at its core, with everything that's, you know, you can do now in Unreal Engine and these other tools, like you sort of, like I find like investing a lot of time into Blender lighting and, you know, Blender, you know, animation and Blender, all these things. It's like, man, I don't know if it's going to be useful in because other tools kind of do it differently, but pure modeling and knowing how to model properly and learning how to unwrap UVs and work directly with the data, to me is like a transferable skill anywhere. And I'd love to get really, really good at that. So I like to challenge myself. Like I didn't have to make this balloon, but I love to challenge myself to get better and better at it, because you can really see, like you can really imagine where, you can just really imagine the value, right, of how important it is to have that skill as you go. And for example, I'm thinking that doing something with these seams might be an interesting, and I don't know, like if you want these seams to be ignored, and I'm kind of curious. Yeah, so that kind of pulled it up a bit. But when you were talking about Mark Sharp, that was popping into my head. No, thought maybe it would respect that. But at least with the crease, it sort of, it's really interesting, although. And then it kind of creates a, like we don't want. It's interesting that it. You know, we probably, do you know, I'm trying to get at there is I'm trying to figure out, like, I feel like if I cut that off and then, you know, not change the shape. Yeah, that's a perfect way to put it, eh? You've inherited a complete refinery and you're just using it to make coffee. 100%. Blender is crazy. Like, you remember like going back to the first time you opened Blender and you're like, oh my God, like what is going on here? And then it's funny, you just like slowly over time, there just become concepts that you're more familiar with. And you're like, okay, I know how to do that. Some you know how to do right off the bat, just bang, you know the settings and you know the shortcuts. It's easy. And then other stuff, you're like, okay, I've heard of that. I've done it before. And then other things like you on the menu and you're searching and you're like, you pick a random word and you're like, okay, what's a freestyle face? I don't know. It's like, but you can literally go into the documentation. I think you can even do it from here. Yeah, look, you can go to the online manual from here in Blender. Thought that worked. You can go mark freestyle online manual. I don't know why that's not working. Weird. Normally you can go directly to the manual, to that spot in Blender, and then you can read. So I mean, it's just you're limited by your patience and your time to learn this stuff. But the top is a little weird, but I don't think it's stressing me out too much. I don't know if that I don't want to have. Let's go back to see what it looked like before. Yeah, that's good. That 3D Studio. Is 3D Studio the same as Cinema 4D or is it different? So you can see what that's doing. It's just kind of creating like a bit of a hard edge there. It's kind of neat. We can do like kind of half. And then, we got a bit of a weird thing here, but I was even thinking like I could probably, I'm just kind of curious. We could sort of, inset this. That's a bad idea what I just did. I'm stupid. Let's just keep it where it was. Okay, let's just stay here. Chill. Okay, so let's see about texturing, because I don't actually know how I'm going to approach this. I mean, we can create a simple balloon texture. This is where, like, have you ever used Substance Painter? This is where people keep coming back to Substance Painter, and there's another Adobe one that people keep talking about that I'm like, man, I wonder if I'm just missing out on something. What I'm trying to think about is, like, obviously the seam, like, we're not going to find this texture, so we'd have to make something. And we could probably make it in Photoshop, but I'm not a good Photoshop person. We could also... maybe we'll just get the unwrapping right and see about the red-blue pattern. Like, let's just see if we can get a red-blue pattern going properly on here first. And I'm really curious. I'm really curious on the unwrapping part of this whole thing. So let's just get a texture in here to start, and we can actually see what we're doing. So we're going to turn the roughness, and we're going to do some transparency on this thing. So we're gonna test a bunch of stuff, and then while we're here, let's see what it looks like. Like this, we're gonna put some lighting inside of it. Okay, so it's picking up light probably from the bottom. Okay. Oh, more like Maya 3D Studio. Cool. So we're just kind of experimenting here to see how this thing is going to look lit. I don't know if there's actually, there probably isn't lighting inside of this one. He's got the lighting on the outside. So there looks like there is a bit of lighting coming from the inside as well. So we're going to have to kind of mimic a bit of that. We'll use this. We'll make this much warmer light. 4500 is fine. And then, you know, we're going to kind of just we want to see a little bit of this coming through. Okay, so let's go back to here. So we've got our texture. We're going to, obviously we can add the rut. We can add some bump to it. It's really all we really need to get the texture. So let me think about whether we could do this procedurally. Let's see how far we can get on doing that. So we're going to just get rid of this, put these two nodes in, and we're going to go for the color. We're going to go for a color ramp, and we're going to set one side to be kind of this orange color, and we're going to set the other side to be white color, and we're going to make this a constant for now. Okay, just for this moment. And then I think what we need, oh, did I mess that up? Is there is I think a wave texture might do it, right? Okay, so let's see now. Okay, so what I like to do often on this is, I don't know, I'm going to see, let's just see what the UVs look like first of all. Okay, well these actually, oh. Okay. Don't panic, everybody. Don't panic. We may be a lot closer than we thought. We could just line up the, literally we could just line up the, I need to be able to see those seams though. I mean, I think we're going to be pretty close. Not bad, right? We got pretty close, pretty quick. This is more of an orange, something like that. And you know, we're gonna add some seam in here, which we could probably get. I think we could probably like multiply it in using the same wave texture idea. I think I could probably get that right. I like to get the texture dead on, but I'm having trouble. Okay, well that we know that that's not going to work up top, but that's fine. We can do that one separately. Oh yeah, it's using the UV, so we can just unwrap this guy separate, and we can decide what to do with it. Maybe we'll just do a sort of a different texture altogether. It's probably the easiest way to do this. We'll just make the base of it something like this. And then we'll fix the UVs and stuff after. Oh, it's interesting. It's also issues here. Yeah, let's do that, and then we'll fix that one after. So this is material. Boop in. And then let's get this color actually. And then let's go to this guy. Material, balloon, cap. And then we'll grab the same hex. So at least it's consistent. Okay. We'll deal with that after. I wanted to try to get this, like, see if I could get this lined up. So I'm just gonna amplify our oh, I guess I didn't assign that. Damn. I know you can do this. Select crease. There we go. And then let me just assign this. So just so I can kind of see this a little bit clearer. So the seam is right in the middle. So ideally we would hit. We might be able to do this, honestly. I don't know if the seam is getting off. Yeah, it is. So it's kind of a game of... I really don't feel like I should have to move this. Pretty close. I'm just curious out of here if I could do this, if I could go in between the color ramp. I could hit like a, yeah, see, if we could hit like a darker seam there. Sweet. Yeah, I like that. What we'll probably end up doing is we're just going to grab, we could probably just do the orange color and then just darken it. It's probably a better way to do it. And then we can adjust where that orange is versus that. That's pretty good. So there we go. I think we got something. It's kind of artificial, but I'm just looking at the reference to see. Oh, he doesn't even have the seam in. Oh, that's stupid. So maybe I didn't even need to do that. It was a bad idea. Although it really does add like a bit of a border. So maybe I'll just it's just sort of like an artificial. I mean, to me, it just adds a bit of. I mean, it's really. It's like ambient occlusion, and lighting would pick it up. But yeah, it adds a bit of a seam. But I'm going to keep it like this. We'd have to still do the. But again, we got to remember how far this also is away, so I shouldn't go too crazy. Okay, so let's just add a bit of bump to this, and then let's move on. So it's just a bit of a noise on this thing. So what we'll do is we'll grab a bump node and we'll grab a noise texture and we'll bring the factor into the height and we'll bring this into here. We'll zoom in a little bit. Maybe we'll go back to this one so we can see this maybe a bit better. just want to scale this way down. We can do color ramp. I want to bring the strength way down. All right, so just enough to kind of add a little bit of texture there. 100, something like that. I can change. This is probably pretty good. We can change the settings after. It's going to do some weirdness with the noise reduction there, but we have at least some texture on the balloon. And you can see the balloon starting to come together up here in the corner. And we'll end up replacing this, duplicating it with the other balloons. All right, so we want to go, let's bring back our everything. And now we want to do is some lighting. So if we go back to the reference, we got to hang some lights around the outside of this. That's probably the first one. So let's do that. Now you can't, if I remember right, I don't think we can do an array modifier with lights in Blender. Array with light object Blender. Yeah. So I'm sorry, I just saw your thing about the material. Yeah, I could change it to the different faces, I did at the top. It's a different material, but 100%. I'm just curious if this is possible. Oh, there's an add-on for this. Single vert. Oh, interesting. Okay. Okay. Sorry.
Shift, click on the point. And then Control P, set parent to object. And now you have the vert first, parent, and if you select move and vertices, properties, instancing, and then vertices. Now, what it does when you array the verts,
I've never seen this before.
the pointer to.
I've never seen this idea of that instance to vertices.
So with the vert,
And then when you hit the array, it's going to do all these vertices in an array. And then the lights are going to be
and now you
parented. That's
see there
super
is
cool.
one. I want to change
That's
it to
super
be
cool.
on. If I put another point,
Man, I like that technique. I don't know whether to use emission. So my understanding on this, I don't know if you, Cryogy, if you have an opinion, but we could do a couple things. By the way, our balloon shrunk when we did that. So now we have to adjust everything because the balloon is no longer and honestly, his is again, I was looking at this earlier and I was going man, the real way that this would work would be super cool is if you had a mesh with so you can do this in Blender. It'd be wild to see it done. Is that you could basically use there's a simulator for cloth and inflate. So you'd make your material and then you would change the seams to be essentially stronger, you know, in the claw simulation, and then you'd make the rope a collision, and then you'd inflate the balloon, and it would take the shape of both, like the seam, like it would basically make the ridges that we had, and it would also take the shape of the rope, which I thought would be really a wild test. I'm not going to do it because I want to get this done, but I think it would be really cool to make this and then inflate that and see how it, you know, how it shapes using the simulations in Blender. The sizing change, yeah, the smoothing. So I mean, I think we could probably just resize this. Oh no, because everything's parented, so we have to affect only parent. And I can see it. We got some weird rope stuff going on up there we got to fix. And then we can do is we'll cut off the bottom of these. It's good for now. We'll fix that up after. Okay. So would we come in here to do? The lighting. So the lighting either is going to be it's going to either be like, these don't have anything to them. Like I don't see anything in here that would tell me that these are, you know, like they just look like lights. So I think I would go with that. Obviously, like modeling out, you know, some type of a bulb or something to put this in would be cool. But I think for now, I'm actually I want to try this technique because I've always kind of curious about using arrays and light bulbs. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a good call. Well, I think we can do it. We can just do it like this. So, what Crowd's saying is just scale Z0. Yeah, that's it. Smart move. So if we just want the balloon to kind of fit, you know, we're trying to make it kind of fit and we can even turn on for that last part, turn on proportional. Just kind of bringing the balloon down inside of that metal. And probably even, honestly, probably even these ones too. We'd have to see what the shape is. But I like that. I love that idea. And then, you know, just sort of making it kind of fit at the bottom of this. And then we can also do some adjustment. Yeah, I like that idea though. That's super cool. And then, you know, we could, I'm sure we could smooth out these vertices. I don't know if that's an interesting idea. Kind of curious now with your smooth vertex wizardry that you had earlier. Look at that. This guy's a genius. Crouchy, you're never allowed to leave. You have to stay here. I think it worked better the first time. Cool. I don't know if that's going to cause issues anywhere else, but that was, yeah, great call there on that. So we just basically cut that out. And now we have what looks like kind of the opening of the balloon. And, we can also, experiment with scaling this, turning the proportional off, scaling this in to make it kind of more of that balloon opening, here. And we can add like probably another loop. Yeah, we can get fix this up at the bottom. But I think the general idea there is really good. Okay, let's do the lighting. Okay, so what they're suggesting, which I really like, is we want lighting in between each of these. So notice that like this was sort of part of the problem, and I'm going to live with it. But if you're modeling something in the future, this is like really an interesting thing in sort of symmetry. But notice that in this reference that we have, sorry, I try to go over to OBS and do it. In the reference we have, notice like the nice alignment, how each rope also fits with each one of these balloons. So we would want to have the equal number of faces on the balloon as we did on the lights. And we'd kind of plan this out so that it kind of all fits nicely together. We don't have that. That was an issue that I was running into with the way the ropes connected at the bottom. So we kind of have a double situation. But yeah, we just have to probably live with it for now, and then we can see if there's a solution. Like we could actually well, we could have done it. We actually could have done it easily if we went back to the balloon and we had done every third. Like if we had just done every third and then lined it up, we could have actually hit it perfectly, which is too bad. So we're going to put one. We can always go back and solve that issue. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do exactly what that guy did. So we're going to add a light bulb in between each of these ropes. So what he did was he added a mesh and he added a single vert. And we can actually just bring that single vert no, hold on. Did I just do that in edit mode? I think I did. Okay. Let's try this again. Add mesh single vert. Why is it going to edit mode? Okay, so this is fine. So we're going to bring the single vert. I'm curious if this is going to work the way I'm hoping it works. So we're just going to bring it just outside of the rim of this, right? So it's going to just be maybe sitting something like that. Okay. Then we're going to add a light. We're going to add a light. We're going to add a point light. And we're going to change the point light's location. Well, easiest way to do this, I find, is just go cursor to selected, grab the light, selection to cursor. So now the light, the point that we did and the vert are the same, and we're going to parent them together. So now we have inside of the vert, we have a light, and we're going to call this balloon light balloon. Okay, and then the vert, we want to set its origin. So now we want to do is, okay, we want to change the cursor to world origin. Which, no, did we move this balloon? I don't know. I feel like we didn't. Okay, well, I already have empties that we can just use for this. So, for example, we already have an empty in here. So this is actually perfect. This is the same one we want to use. And what we're going to do is just duplicate this. Okay. And we're going to call this empty balloon light. And we're going to reset it to all have no rotation. And we're going to reset it to have regular scale. Okay. So now we're going to go back to that vert that we had. and sorry, we're going to go to the empty, the light, empty balloon light, and we're going to set the cursor to selected. So the 3D cursor is now there. And then we're going to go to our vert, and we're going to set the origin point of the vert to the 3D cursor. Okay, so the vert is out here, this little single point, but its origin is in the middle, which is what we need to do an array. So now we're going to do an array, and we're going to set the object offset to be that light, or that empty. So we may not be able to get it. So we know it's called empty balloon light. Okay, so now it's by here. And now, with any luck, I don't know if it's going to work, we can set the number. So I think we're going to need, say we need 8 for now. Let's just test it. And now we're going to go back to our empty, and we're going to rotate it. Okay, so see that? We actually have these verts now going fully around. And now we just need to do some math. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We need 7 of these. So we go back to the vert modifier, we go to 7, and then we change the empty to rotate at 360 divided by 7. Okay. I think that worked. So what we just did, just so we kind of all on the same page, we may want to move the location of this to center it, but we basically made a vert, and we told it to, we put the origin point, and we told them to be 7 and each one to be 51 degrees apart, which is 1/7 of the 360. Now we have to see if that light, we want to light that, make sure that light followed it. And I think that was, it was just, I've never used this before, but instancing the vertices. Okay, so it did it. It did it, but it moved the light out. Interesting. See, it did it. Oh, maybe it's the origin point problem. That could be an issue. Because I don't think you can you change the origin point of a light? Damn. Damn. I wonder if, because he did it, but I don't know, did he do it with an offset?
Cube and instancing vertices, the light is going to be on the vertices of the cube here. If you want to learn,
What does the align to vertex do? Man, that's so frustrating. I don't know if... I don't think that lights have an origin point. I don't think that lights have an origin point. I'm guessing that's why they're not respecting... Maybe because I did it after. That shouldn't matter, right? Yeah, that cloth sim. I was trying, I did a couple of streams ago. I tried to drop the net. Like I tried to drop the net on top and let it fall. It's interesting. It's a cool idea. Like if you actually created a proper mesh for a net, because this is really messy, and you actually created something that like made sense, and then you dropped it over top, it would probably work. It's just you know, you have to have, like when you design a net, you would design it on top of this. Like it's not like it just fell on top of the balloon. So this is probably a better approach, although I got to clean up some of that geometry. I think it's actually going to be not bad. I'm just going to probably stretch out, you know, each of these and get rid of these smaller loops at the top. Okay, back to this vertex thing. I'm just trying to wrap my head around the light situation. So the light is parented to the vert. We add an array to the vertex. Right, so that works. Okay, the light but the lights are off. And is that because of the origin point? Yes. But I don't think we can do that array properly without the origin. Don't think we can do that properly without the origin. Yeah, so I thought. So unless we put the origin point of the empty to the 3D cursor, then we get this. So then these things are good, but there's an offset on the light because the light can't have an origin point. I don't think it can anyway. Can light object have an origin? I don't see the point of it, like why anyone would need it. Maybe this is not going to just work the way that I was hoping. Oh, okay. Well, you know what? Whatever. I just realized I'm being stupid about it. So once the array's done, what we can do is we can just apply it. And then we can take our lights out. We don't need them parented. What is it? Alt P, clear parent. Okay, so this is our balloon light, and all we got to do is snap the first balloon light. Okay, so hold on. Let's go backwards. Okay. Okay. Let's get rid of this. Okay, so keep our balloon. We have our vert with the array. We've got 10 of them right now. Do we need 10 or 7? We only need 7, right? Okay, so we have 7 of these things. And basically all we want to do now is apply it. And we want to edit all. Separate by loose parts. Yes, okay. So now we've got all the verts. And what we want to do is we want to okay, origins are back. And we want to set, no. Okay, first vert. Okay. This is like a little annoying, but we're gonna just do it because I think we're gonna waste time if I can't. I mean, I could just place them, but we're gonna duplicate the light as a linked duplicate because they're gonna be exactly the same, and then we're gonna do vert 2, and we're gonna go Shift S, cursor to selected, selection of cursor. Okay, so now we have 2, and then we're gonna do the same. We can just go all the way to our 7. So that's 7. And then we just need to go vert this one, cursor to selected, selection to cursor. The next vert. So we have this one, then this one, cursor to selected, light balloon 3, is it 4, selection to cursor. The numbers would be nice if they were the same, but that's fine. So this cursor here, cursor to selected, this light here, selection to cursor. We probably messed that up somewhere. Yeah, because we have light here, light here. Yeah, this one's good. This one's good. We went in a weird order. Did we duplicate it? First light. No. Where does this light go? How did that light get over here? Okay. All right, there we go. So anyway, we've got all these set up properly, and it doesn't really matter. We can parent them in if we want. It doesn't. They're now in the right place, so we could basically delete all these verts. I don't see the reason we need them. So there we go. So we have our lights set up on the outside. It's going to be annoying if we end up fixing this up, but it'll do the trick. Okay, so now let's watch the balloon, and we're going to see this thing come to life because they're all going to be set up on the same exact. They're all going to be set up together. So we should be able to adjust them all at once. So now we can start to bring some light into our balloon. Kind of see it happening up there. Just have to figure out what the right number is. But forget the fact that we've got some noise going on, which is what's kind of causing it to look off. But it's working. It's working. And when we render that in high res, we'll get something that looks we'll get something that looks a little bit better. We'll do a render at the end of this. I'm gonna finish the lights, and then I'm gonna do a render, and I'm done. I'm done at 8:30 my time, which is in 4 minutes. Yeah, and then we'll run a render so we have something for tomorrow. We haven't done these ribbons yet. That's the other thing. But okay, so for lighting, I think I can do a bit of a hack here, because we have these lights here, and we can just drop them and probably rescale them all. So these are the upper lights. So what we're going to do is we're going to batch rename, and we're going to set the names to light balloon. Well, actually, that did literally nothing. That was stupid. I think that I can just Alt D these. And then I think I can just bring them down and scale them in. Yeah. And then bring them down to just check our reference. They're just going to drop below the basket. Kind of in here. Just kind of check to make sure they're on the outside. Yeah, that looks good. Now those are going to start to come in. And now we're going to just rename these ones. Q, batch rename, light, basket. Here we go. And you know, the amounts here are probably off, but let's change this down to like 250, and then we'll let this start to come in and see how this looks. But yeah, I'm pumped. Like it's coming together. It's not fully complete, but we have a texture on the balloon. We have our ropes textured. We have our basket textured. We have this textured. We've got our lights set up. All that's really left to do is these cool streamers, and then probably adding some thickness, you know, kind of all over the place. Things like this. I would want to I got to thicken this up with the solidifier. I think it even has a solidify, right? So we can thicken this up and add a bunch of subdivisions, and then make sure that, you know, we might have to adjust the rope to go around it. Actually, maybe the amount of bevel. Yeah, but, you know, we can fix that one up. Add some more thickness to these, the whole thing. But let's see what this looks like. I want to just bring it into a bit of isolation on its own, and we're going to just see how this works. I really struggle sometimes to select the entire hierarchy of that, and then isolate it, and then turn on the render, and we'll see how this looks from close up. And then we can sort of adjust it with the lighting, and then we'll do the render. Okay, so let's join areas, and join area this way, and let's kind of take a peek at what we're dealing with here. So we've got some lighting on the outside. We've got some lighting inside the basket. We've got some lighting on here. And because these are all the same, the cool thing is we can adjust these. So we can adjust the size of them if we want. So that probably makes it look a little bit smoother. But if you look at these, they're not. They're very small. Look at what he did. Interestingly, and I wonder if he modified this. This is really interesting. Like, the lights themselves are not putting out, like, they're not lighting this that much, but they're actually, you know, super visible in the scene. And what he might have done, which you could do, So see, see something like this is visible to the camera, but you can turn off the reflection. So it's interesting. And I'm sure if you use nodes on the lights, you could probably adjust that. Something to think about. I'm just gonna for now light it and see how it ends up looking in the scene. In terms of the size of the lights. And also, we have the other thing that we have at our disposal is the transparency of this, or the transmission. So now we have more of the lights. And this is also where having these directly, like having these textures. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, so what Cryogy is saying is that you can use render layers. So you could basically do is separate the lights onto a separate layer, and that you can render out like just the lights, right? So you would have, just the lights, and you could turn on. Let me just bring this to. So what he's saying is you can set up render layers, right? So you can have it render the balloon, and the balloon will be lit by whatever lighting is probably lighting it from the inside, versus he could have like actual lights around it to light it however he wants to light it, to make it look like that. And you can see that, look at where the shadowing is. He's probably got, if you look down here, you look on the side, you're kind of saying, where is the lighting? So you could have, although it's a little bit interesting, and this is sort of like artistic direction. You've got like some rim light on this, some lighting over here. This balloon looks like it would be lit from, like it's got lighting coming in from the right, and then probably some lighting either inside or maybe just shining at it from like, a ring light or something from the bottom. So however he lights it, he can light it how he wants and then render that out. And then what you do is a render pass. And what you do is you render again the lights only. And what you would do is you create a mask. So you set your main layer as a mask. So when it renders out the lights, it won't render anything behind the balloon. And you can kind of see here the clipping, like see how this kind of light pops out. So it all depends on bloom. He might have the light here, and then you can increase the amount of bloom or the amount of glow on the lights. And you can independently render out these lights separate. And then you have, these render passes that you can do, and then you composite them all together. So when you're dealing with this scene and you're animating it, and if you watch this video, it's an incredible animation. He very, very likely or very could easily have done that. And, you could have a render pass for the background, one for the foreground, maybe another one for this lights, definitely another for this. And then, he might have 10 render passes and then render each of those out separately and then composite them together. A good call on that. That definitely could be something. We'll see if we want to do that or need to do that. I'm just kind of curious for now. It's how it's going to look in the background. And, you can kind of see what's happening here. We got some bloom because we have natural atmosphere. And obviously, like quality wise, you just need a lot of samples. And this is also, by the way, this is also out of focus. So if we go into the camera, and we change the focus. Now it's in focus. So this is, I mean, this is what I care about, right? Because the idea here is that you look in the sky and you see something that looks like you can tell that it's that, but it's not, has to be perfect because it's not my model. And ultimately, again, I could have gotten this model from Ryan, but it's got to look familiar. And yeah, I think it's interesting. I really agree with the render pass thing, because what's really actually feels iconic about these balloons is the lighting that goes up. But also here, let's lock this in right here, and then let's do we'll do a render. So first thing I would say is these lights are too bright. So we need to select these lights, and they're all the same. And let's just bring them down. Maybe even way down. Adjust the size. We don't want that. This is not bad. This is not bad. And then let's bring that transmission back up on the balloon. So the balloon's going to have a little bit of a glow. And then what I'm thinking is I'm going to bring, I know there's a light in here. I can't remember where I put it, but I definitely added a light in here at the beginning that I was messing around with. She could like reverse select only the lights. It's going to be in here, I'm pretty sure. I thought I put a light in here. I did. Okay. So this light, okay, so this is light. There we go. That's why you name your stuff. Light, balloon, inside. And let's bring this guy, we'll turn on here. Let's bring this guy down to the bottom, and let's change the size of this thing. So it's basically lit from the bottom up. And then sorry, I wasn't showing what I was doing. That's my mistake. I keep forgetting that. Anyway, all I was doing is I'm just getting this light that I had inside. I'm just getting that light at the bottom, and just experimenting with having it lit from the bottom and then different transmission amounts. Oh no. Oh, good thing for autosave. Have you seen me save this entire 3 hours? Good thing autosave is on. That sucks. We're almost done this stream. I'm gonna just finish this and then hit render and go take off for a little run with the dog. And then I'm gonna call this balloon finished. How far back? Couple minutes. Probably the light change is probably still there. Save your work. Save your work. Okay. So what we were doing is taking a peek at this render, and we were just zooming in to see kind of how it will look at detail in the scene. So back here now, we wanted to see where that light went. I think it was this guy here. And we rename this to light balloon. And then why don't we save this as our new copy, because we forgot to save a new one for today. So we'll save that as 4.1. And then what we were doing is we were getting that light in the balloon, and we were bringing it down, right, to the bottom. And then we were changing the size of it to fit inside the balloon. And then we were experimenting with the texture for this balloon, because it has, if you turn full transmission on, you can see that light coming through, and not really, these lights are kind of now lighting up the inside of it, but we want to kind of find a balance. So it's basically like translucency, right? We have some of the light coming through at the bottom and some of the light coming through at the top. And if you kind of look at the reference, you get that. And that the render layer point is really good, which is, you know, where do you want your light to come from, and do you want to control your light separately, is kind of a fun setup. But you could see there, now we have the light kind of really coming through down here. And we can change the size again to the bottom. And we can even, you know, I don't like to normally mess with this, but we can also change the specular, which is going to affect how much, you know, in the roughness. How much of this light comes in from the bottom versus not. And yeah, it's such a good point by CryoG. It's just like, you know, you can, there's certain things, like, you obviously want things to be as realistic as possible. And obviously, like, when you want a light to show up at a distance and, you know, pop into your scene in this level of you know, like, it really does pop. It's going to light the scene. And in this case, it's obvious when you look at this that these lights are probably not lighting this balloon as much as they're being shown on the actual thing. So when you get into render passes and visibilities and stuff, it can really get fun. I just wanted to see I was just kind of curious where these lights were coming from. I feel like we might have a rogue light. So this is getting a lot of light from somewhere, and I think it's just it's from the scene. It's from the moonlight that's really getting lit up. So that's like another thing that, you know, you can adjust, is we could adjust how, but the specular is not going to really do a lot. Add some metallic to the balloon, which would be kind of fun, but not realistic, but it definitely helps solve some of the problem. We can change the roughness of the balloon, or less roughness. yeah, with the render passing, you can, you know, really affect a lot of these things. I was thinking about this in terms of like, what am I trying to say? Like telling this to not get light from. I'm just kind of curious. Okay, so I just looking to see. So there's no ability in Blender to like specifically have an object not affected by light. At least from what I'm reading here. So you could do it with like a texture. So I could go into this balloon texture and I can tell it to basically exclude any light visibility from other objects, but I don't know if I can control like where that light's coming from the moon. From the moon or yeah, the simulated moon that's coming in. So it gets kind of interesting in terms of how you approach this, because really there's just a lot of light. Like there's a lot of light hitting that balloon, and I would like to kind of have that, if I could, much less so that I can actually control how it looks with the outside lighting. But the problem is, so there is a light here somewhere, by the way. I don't know where that light is. So there's a light underneath, but there's a rogue. Or maybe that's coming from somewhere else in the scene. I think there is some light here somewhere. I don't know where that would be. Something lighting that balloon up from the inside, I think. And I don't know where it is. Maybe it's the light coming in from here and bouncing around. That could be what it is. Anyway, so if you do that with the transmission, then the problem is you end up with a problem of the lights that are on the outside are gonna, yeah. So I don't think there's any real way to handle this. I've got a massive moonlight coming in. I mean, the way to handle it is to simulate it and kind of like, you know, yeah. It's gonna be a render pass thing. I just have to think through it at the end and get it right. Oh, I just see purple material here. What is that about? Do you see that? Seems like there's no proper material on these rings. Oh, is it just a reflection? What is that about? Oh, okay. Weird. Oh, something reason at 100. Weird. Okay, we'll keep it here. That's odd. Might be just something about this node setup. Anyway, the point is I don't know the right solution to this right now because I want to light this balloon in a much more dynamic way. But it's not I have to turn down the lighting on the other thing. But this does something. You know, you get more light at the bottom, and that kind of matches what's going on this balloon a bit more. It's not perfect, and we can obviously change the shape of this, and you know, we could turn it into yeah, we could do all sorts of stuff with this, but I think that this gives a pretty good, where's that light? Yeah, I mean, it's okay. I just would like it to be a little bit darker up top and stuff, but that's all good. I'll change this transmission, see if there's anything else I can do. So if I go up on transmission, we get more of that light. Obviously we get less. I think that's probably fine. From those distances, they're sort of lit up. Okay, so now here's where it kind of gets tricky because we have a bunch of geometry and stuff, which I wanted to clean up these ropes because they do have too much geometry in them. I think there's going to be a ton in these balloons. And this is sort of like an optimization problem, but I also really want to duplicate them across the scene so we can include them a couple over here. So let's see. If I select, we can turn off the old balloons for now. And if we select the airship and isolate it again, yeah, it's massive. It's massive. It's 2 million faces overall, which is a problem. And it's all going to come from probably the rope. So that's a huge amount of it right there. That's not as much. So interesting is the top part. Maybe we'll just keep the one in here for the moment, and before we go and bother to duplicate it, yeah, like before I bother to duplicate the whole thing, I feel like I want to clean it all up and get the geometry right. So if anything, I would just bring this up in the scene and just see how it looks rendered, and then we can add the other ones, because it's going to just be a massive duplication even if we do it. I guess we could try it. Maybe just for this render we'll do it. So it's going to be, I can just set it here. It's going to be a fun one to render. And let's just do one more. Oh, shoot. That's good for now. They're not placed exactly where I would want them, but I think it's generally... Yeah, I think it probably will do the trick for now. Okay, so this is just a massively crazy unoptimized scene that I'm going to have to go back and fix, but at least I can get a render running and go take off for a bit and come back, and then we'll have tomorrow when we jump in here, we'll have at least a look at how this sort of all looks on the render, and yeah, that'll at least be a win. So I'm going to save it, and I'm going to render it, and I'm going to end the stream. Thanks for joining. I'll be back later this afternoon to work on some stuff in Unreal Engine, and we'll see everyone soon.